So, it is very cold at the moment, but let's warm everything up with a nice, hot, romantic movie to finish off Love Month. So yes, I wanted to review a video for this month because it seemed like an obvious thing to do. But of course I wanted to review a romantic movie that I've never seen before. And there were plenty of those because I don't tend to watch films that are specifically romantic comedies. That's not to say that I'm against romance or anything. I mean, there are some really lovely romances. As I had my favourite TV couple list. It's just movies that are specifically romantic comedies don't just genuinely interest me. So when I was looking for one to review, I looked on Netflix, I looked onto romantic, and I just sort of thought, right, what's a romantic film I haven't seen which I actually think I might like? And I found When Harry Met Sally, which is an older romantic comedy from the 80s, I believe. But I thought to myself, well, I know this is a comedy because A, it's got Billy Crystal in it, so of course it's going to be funny in some form. So I thought, okay, I'll give it a go. It's a classic and I've not seen it, so I thought, right, okay, I'll watch it. I've literally just finished watching it because I haven't had time to watch it beforehand, so I've literally just finished watching it, and so you can have my fresh thoughts on it. I like the way it builds up, the fact that you have this, when they first meet, they do actually have quite a long conversation, quite a lot of conversation. And then when they meet up again, it's sort of a similar sort of thing. And then it's them sort of remembering each other. And I kind of like the fact that they don't actually remember each other quite clearly at first. They have to sort of go, Because if you haven't seen somebody in 5 years and you literally only spent one evening talking to them, it can be pretty hard to remember them. So I thought that was actually a nice touch, weirdly. And then they sort of meet up again, and then they become friends. And it's that old sort of thing of, can you be friends with a man? Can a man and a woman be friends? Which is something that I can say yes, because I actually have a fair few male friends. In fact, technically I have more male friends than female friends. And no, I have never slept with any of them. So, yeah, I think it is actually possible. Which is a sort of theme that sort of goes throughout, because of course the two of them do become friends. And weirdly, I really liked them as friends. I thought they worked quite well, because the idea is, I guess, there was supposed to be like sexual tension there. And I guess you can see it, but for the most part, I thought they played friends quite convincingly. And they did genuinely, the actors had actual chemistry. So you actually thought it was quite nice them being friends. Even though they do add in the things of... you know, when they're dating somebody else, they're asking about the other person's, you know, why are they dating them sort of thing. Which is the sort of hints that maybe they feel more for each other. And yeah, it genuinely made me laugh in a couple of places. I mean, Billy Crystal, he's not my favourite comedian or anything, but he can genuinely be funny. He does have this sort of way of talking really fast that is kind of, weirdly you listen. But sometimes you can also sort of phase off a little bit, and he's like, did he say something funny? I'm not sure. And other times it's blatantly obvious, and I did actually genuinely laugh at parts. Meg Ryan, I'm not a big fan of, or I haven't seen a lot, because she's mostly in romantic comedy, so I haven't seen much with her in. But yeah, she was quirky and fun. And like I said, the two really did have chemistry. But of course, I knew that this was going to be a romantic comedy, so I knew there had to be an element of they're going to get together. And that's not a spoiler, let's face it. I mean, if you want to see if it's a spoiler, it's a spoiler. But I knew that it was going to be, right, when are they going to get together? And I'll admit that the way they did it wasn't quite the way I expected. But then they did do the whole, they get angry at each other, there's a separation, and then they have to come together at the end. And yeah, that was kind of predictable, and I was kind of watching it going, right, let's get past this, let's get to the end, yada, 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 yada. But when they got to the end, I did genuinely feel, I was like, no, there's that kind of feeling to it. But I don't, it's not a teary-eyed thing for me. I don't get all teary-eyed at romance normally. It has to be pretty, musicals can do that, but then they have the advantage of having music, and music can move you much differently. So yeah, I did like their friendship. I thought it was genuinely kind of funny in parts. They didn't have many supporting characters. It was quite interesting that they very much focused on this relationship. I mean, they both have friends. Their one friend that they then by accident, they become a couple and they get married and everything. Played by Carrie Fisher. She's in a lot more films than I thought. I only ever associate her with Star Wars, and I will forever associate her with Star Wars. But I didn't realise she was in what other things she was in. I didn't realise she was in this. And that was quite sweet. It was a bit kind of obvious when they set each other up with their own friends and then they got together. So yeah, and of course it feels like an older romantic. I think the one thing that did kind of bug me was that idea of, oh, you've just split up from a guy, gotta get you, gotta find you another man, gotta get you married, and it's like, really? Is this really? I mean, a lot of older comedies sometimes did have that element. I mean, this was the 80s, so I was a bit surprised they maybe had it in this, but it's just the idea of, no, you can't be single for 5 minutes, gotta set you up in the man, you can't end up alone, that kind of thing, and it's like, but then that's romantic comedies for you. There's always that element of they've got to find somebody in the end. At least I assume. I don't know why I keep saying I know this, because like I say, I don't watch that many romantic comedies. But anyway, yeah, so that was probably my major problem, was when I was just kind of going, at that part. Otherwise, it was a sort of film that sort of drags a little bit nearer the end before all of the sort of, I guess, bad stuff happens. And yeah, they didn't really have any, because they didn't have many side characters, there wasn't really anyone to dislike in it. There wasn't any sort of like snobbish or bad rivals or anything like that. There weren't any like, oh, you're dating him, oh, he's horrible. I mean, you obviously don't like Harry's ex-wife, by the way he talks about her and what happened and everything. And I did actually like the fact that he's talking about how his marriage is breaking up, how she's leaving him. And it's this whole everything he's saying is so sort of like big thing. And yet every now and again, because they're at some sort of sports event, they have to keep doing a Mexican wave. And that was just like, okay, well, that seems like the best way to, break the tension, I guess. Make it a little less serious, despite the fact someone's marriage is breaking up. So yeah, overall, I enjoyed it. It's not a film I would rush out to see again, necessarily, but I would recommend it as a fun, enjoyable romantic comedy, because I like the actors in it. I thought they had really good chemistry. They did have some, like I said, right from the start, you really did kind of want to see them get together, despite the fact that I actually really liked the fact that they were friends. I kind of wanted them just to stay friends. A part of me really did wish that they would just stay friends, but then that's not really the type of film that it is, so... But yeah, that would have been cool. But otherwise, when they did actually, when the romantic stuff, I did feel the chemistry for them, and it was really, really sweet. So yeah, overall, I actually did really enjoy it. So yeah, that's my review. Next month's theme, I will, of course, talk about next month, reveal it then. I'm looking forward to it because it took me a while to decide what I wanted to do. But now that I've decided what I'm going to do, I am really looking forward to it. So I hope everyone enjoyed my love month, coming from one of the least romantic people in the world. But I thought I did pretty well, and I hope everyone enjoyed it overall. And I look forward to seeing you next month. See you then.